The next day, Sunday, September 30th. Finally, President Kennedy decided the time had come to enroll James Meredith at Ole Miss. He sent several hundred U.S. Marshals to the campus to prepare, and he announced he'd make a special speech to the state that night.
Sunday evening, when I flew down in a government plane to the airstrip at the University of Mississippi, and we had marshals already down there. We had about 400 or 500 marshals sworn in as from the prison guards, from the Border Patrol, from the U.S. Marshal Service, from any other place we could find reasonably trained law enforcement officers. And they were themselves an irritant to the students who were returning from a football weekend, and we had no place to sort of hide the marshals. We were around the Lyceum building, which was the center of the campus, and unbeknownst to us, a sort of a tradition and a place of great honor.
Students came, and of course, they saw the marshals. I know I got angry when I saw the marshals. It seemed a betrayal. It made me mad. You know, why are these people here when we haven't done anything? And people have behaved themselves, and, you know, what is going on? And I caught myself really with some of these feelings.
After the marshals had secured their positions, James Meredith was flown into Oxford Airport and driven to a secret location at Ole Miss. The crowds didn't know where he was, but they knew he was on campus. And at 8 o'clock, just as the president went on the air, Ole Miss turned into a battlefield. Very few people heard the president's words.
Americans are free and sure to disagree with the law, but not to disobey it. For any government of laws and not of men, no man, however prominent or powerful, and no mob, however unruly or boisterous, is entitled to defy a court of law. The eyes of the nation and all the world are upon you and upon all of us.
The marshals were ordered not to use guns against the rioters, who were shooting and throwing Molotov cocktails. And the rioters were targeting the media, smashing cameras and attacking reporters.
There was one freshman girl that had been this little flower of Southern gentility when I had met her. And she came up to me, and her face was absolutely contorted, and I almost didn't recognize her. And she was absolutely furious because she had picked up a brick and thrown it at a marshal, and it had only hit him in the head and scratched him, and she had not put his eye out.
Well, you see, we got to get order up there, and that's what we thought we were going to have.
President, please, why don't you give an order up there to remove me?
How can I remove him, Governor, when there's a riot in the street and he may step out of that building and something happen to him? I can't remove him under those conditions.
People are wiring me and calling me saying, well, you've given up. I said, I had to say, no, I'm not giving up any fight.
Yeah, but we don't
I never give up. I have courage and faith, and we'll win this fight, you understand? That's just the Mississippi people.
Yeah, I understand, but I don't think anybody even in Mississippi or any place else wants a lot of people killed.
Oh, no.
That's Governor, that's the most important thing.
I'll issue any statement any time about decent violence.
While the president and the governor argued, the riot worsened. Finally, Katzenbach asked the White House for troops. It took hours for them to arrive, and during the night, 35 marshals were shot, and 2 people, a French journalist and an Oxford worker, were killed. But by dawn, the army had restored order.
Of course the president's going to win in the end. He's got the whole armed forces of the United States. He can call in the Air Force. He can bring Navy ships up the Mississippi River. He can call out the Army as he did. He can drop parachuters in. I suppose he could shoot missiles. at Oxford, Mississippi. So he's going to win at the end.
I recall driving to the campus, and I guess when I got to the circle was when I really saw the impact of the riot the previous evening. I reported to my office. As I recall it, there weren't very many of the staff there. Many of them were too afraid to come to the campus on Monday. And later, James Meredith came to my private office, and I accommodated the registration there.
It wasn't a cause for laughter and champagne, but it was a cause for some relief, and it was the fact that was over with. I mean, in a way, Oxford had become the symbol of massive resistance and the final gasp of the Civil War, if you want to look at it that way. And it was over. It had ended.
Sir, there's been a great deal of turmoil and conflict. 2 people have been killed. Do you have any feelings of guilt? Have you given that any second thoughts?
I'm very sorry that anyone had to get hurt or killed. But of course, I think that's an unfair question to me. I don't believe any of you believe that I had anything to do with that.
How are you getting along in school, sir?
Just fine, just fine.
How are the students have been talking to? Has there been any reaction?
No, just acting like students, I suppose.
Is this a kind of a lonely life for you, despite all these people around you?
I've been living a lonely life a long time.
It was a lonely victory for James Meredith, but it was a victory for him and the country. The Constitution had held and been reaffirmed in a major crisis.